185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast. What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are back and talking hardcore, helping out. You know him, you love him. It is the best dressed man on the pod. It is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
Name a rapper that I ain't influenced. Gave you all chapters, but now I keep my eyes on the Judas.
Love it. All selfing out. It is 6'2". What you gonna do? The mighty Posy Chris. What's up, Chris?
What is cracking?
What is cracking, dudes? So you guys have both had some pretty interesting times recently. Chris, you just got back doing a Euro tour with Change. How was that?
It was awesome. The shows were great. You know, a lot of friends, new friends, old friends. I even met a couple 185 Miles South listeners that introduced themselves kindly. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think my favorite show was probably the Munich show. Like, we played in this living room, super DIY, like, you know, Ask a Punk style, but it was packed. Like, kids were jumping off the fireplace. It was great. There was a show in Saarbrücken, which is I think how you pronounce it, Germany, where it's kind of like this collective first show that they did, and it just kind of like, it was really cool and really fun vibes, and kind of remind me a lot of like just kind of what we got going in AG at Village Hardcore shows, you know, just a bunch of people that are a collection of people that love hardcore and want to bring people together and bring bands to their town, and it was a really cool show. There was one funny moment where you know, kids were washing and someone accidentally got clipped, and this German lady just yells, "No crowd killing," even though it's clearly not crowd killing. It was just like a fluke thing where a dude got clipped, but it's pretty hilariously awkward.
Elect her to the chancellorship of Germany because she sounds like an absolute hero.
Yeah.
Did you get to play? Did you get to play with that Life Crusher band from Switzerland?
No,
I thought I saw him on a flyer.
No, we played with some. No, I mean, we played with Spirit Crusher. That might be what you're thinking of, which is
okay.
They're like one of my favorite bands from Germany. We played 3 shows with them. Just sweet kids, super inspirational live. Like, you know, one of those bands that you go to see and you know, you come away inspired. When you play with them in Germany, it's kind of a bummer though, because they're speaking German between songs, and I'm like, man, damn it, stupid American, I can't understand what he's saying. But then when we play with them in Poland, like, I get to hear him kind of say, like, you know, because he'll speak English. You know, it's Poland, or we've played with him in Barcelona, and he's just got a lot of really profound things to say, and super just important band in that area. Played a couple shows with Dregs, who are another killer band from Austria. Just hard edge band, and they have a new record that they're going to be working on pretty soon. They'll probably be out in 2024. But yeah, it was a great time. Lots of good bands. Got to see Odd Man Out every night, who's one of my favorite Pacific Northwest bands. Just killer live, and I got to see him 9 or 10 times. So it's fun.
Dude, that rules, and we're happy to have you back. So yeah, dude, that rules. So sick. Dan, you went out and you DJ'd the Unbroken Blacklisted shows in Philly. How was that?
It was sick. Bob Wilson put on a wonderful event, a Friday night show and a Saturday matinee. Absolutely done perfectly in the legendary venue of the church basement at the First Unitarian Church in Philly. absolutely, it's what the Che Cafe is to San Diego, the church is to Philly, So amazing to see Blacklisted in Philadelphia with a nice, pause to make everyone just absolutely lose their minds for them coming back, after all these years. And then Unbroken, what can I say? Incredible. But the event was awesome because not only did Friday give us Damnation AD resurrecting, and then Saturday gave us Indecision absolutely killing it and coming back, but modern current bands were just as essential on these nights and the matinee. So on the Friday, we had Crashing Forward from Chula Vista and Entry from LA. Both did fantastic. And then on the Saturday, Scarab comes out the gates just fucking giving us everything we want from a hardcore band right now. Like, unbelievable. Followed by Magnitude giving us that 90s hardcore love letter that they do so well. And then, of course, the part where it goes, proud to be straight edge. And your boy was titanium backboning at that point. And then Spiritual Cramp played in the middle to really give, a little bit of punk rock and roll flavor to break it up a bit. It was just really great. And, it's funny, Chris said, like, lots, some people came up to him about 185. So many people came up to me that weekend about 185 and just saying they liked it. So thank you to everyone who came up and said they enjoyed the pod. Dudes in Scarab, like, all said they like it. And when I went and got Zach and myself t-shirts because we need to rock that. And then DJing was really fun because it's nice to play non-hardcore and non-metal music in between, hardcore bands. And I think lots of people enjoyed that because I got tons and tons of compliments throughout the weekend about it. So I was just really glad to be involved, and I thank Rob very much for asking me to do it. And it was great to hang with the Unbroken and Crashing Forward crew the whole weekend. Just great friendship. And all the bands that played, I enjoyed all of them. And it was so sick to see Scarab for the first time. It definitely won't be the last time. And then Unbroken played just incredible sets, and Blacklisted Friday night, oh my God, it was like maybe like 10 rows deep of just nonstop singing, and behind them just the most fucking brutal pit just the entire time. It was something to be like, something to witness for sure. Blacklisted destroyed it. And shout out Dave Sausage for organizing the split 7-inch with Mandel to have a Unbroken and Blacklisted split where the entire profit and the entire raffle that went to raffling off a couple test presses of it all went to the Year of the Knife band members for their medical help.
Hell yeah. Dan, I did hear there was controversy that you didn't play an E-Town song in your DJ set.
No, the controversy was Bob comes up to me, he goes, Zach told me you're going to play something, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I heard you were going to play something. And I'm like, What is he on about?
No, I said that he was supposed to tell you to, if you don't play E-Town on night 1, you can't play night 2.
Oh, he didn't say it like that. So I was like, what song does that think I should play? I really should have put myself in the minds of Zach and then come forward with Shady.
Yeah, or you could have set the whole crowd off and played Bad Fish, dude. So that would have been another option. I would have heard. Oh, go ahead.
I heard the real controversy is that George played in shoes.
Yeah. Turn a new leaf. How about that?
Yeah.
That's some adult shit.
Well,
no socks, but shoes.
Hey, you can't expect it all. Yeah, this last month I went to a bunch of shows. I saw Slapshot and Sheer Terror. Both were great. It's sick, like seeing legendary acts like still kill it. Also went to Violent Way, Section Hate, and The Business. That was sick. And then, let's see, 2 weekends ago, at the time of this airing, I finally saw Click, and they were so good, dude. Just like, in Shea, they have the Shea Cafe, like, you can't hide behind the sound or anything. It's just really what your band sounds like, right? So it's like kind of put up or shut up time. And they just sound like a fucking heavy wall of noise. It was ill. And then also In Time, Narcore band, killed it. Also Bent Blue, Bayonet, and a couple others. So, yeah, dude, hardcore lives. We're out there.
About that Click show, though, I saw some photos, and the bass player is wearing a Man United shirt. So we do need to talk.
Yeah, well, not everyone has a Cholos jersey and can be a respectable stage member. Also, want to say, everyone, there's a Substack with every episode for like the last handful of episodes. So 185milesouth.substack.com. You also go to 185milesouth.com. It's linked on the beginning. They're kind of companion pieces of the episodes. If you like them, let me know, because they kind of take a lot of time, even though it doesn't seem like it. Like, I'll read through it, I'm like, what the fuck is this ridiculous shit that I wrote? You know what I mean? But check it out. If you dig it, let me know. If not, I'm not going to waste my time. So
I dig it.
Well, I appreciate that. So we'll see, because it does take a lot of time, but I have had some people reach out and say they enjoy it. So we will see. All right. I did not have time to put together a trivia for this episode, but for the people, we're going to do this anyway.
What? What? Okay.
All right, this is a winner take all. So Dan, heads or tails?
Tails for Wales.
Okay, and let me flip. It is heads. Chris goes first, and we're going to give you each 3 tries. And you get this or you
bet
don't.
all my points.
That's right. No, it's just winner take all. So here we go. First time, and
wait, 3 tries or 3 listens?
No, 3 tries. Here, you're going to listen once. You're going to go. Here we go. He repeated the same thing 2 times.
Memories of the way they were, bring them back.
Incorrect. Here you go, Dan.
Oh, fuck. Memories on it.
Of the way they were, bring them back.
I can't give clues.
I'll let Chris go one more time. I'm going to synthesize my thoughts here.
All right, Dan passes on his round 1. Here we go back to Chris for his second shot.
If Dan can pass, I'm going to pass too.
All right, we go to Dan for his second try. Here we go, Dan. Dude, I like how he gets tuneful on that second one a little bit.
Yeah. I know the first line. It's memories are wonderful.
I'm sorry, what is that?
Memories, they are wonderful, I think.
Ah, wonderful.
Because I've listened, because I've done my homework in the past, and I have listened along with this, and I know that line, but I can't remember the second part. Memories, they are wonderful.
I'm
There's no way that's the line.
I'm
It says
90%.
memories, they are wonderful. Look back, I think.
No. And he definitely does not say memories, they are wonderful.
Memories.
All right. Getting
They are
closer.
wonderful.
Getting closer. This is some building block shit. All right, Chris, final try. Here we go.
Man, whatever he's saying, he's going underneath the water again.
Oh.
I think I have it.
All right,
You
Dan,
need
go
to hear
for
it
it.
one more time, Chris?
Nah, let's let Dan steal it.
Okay, Dan, if you got
We
it,
all
you
know
got
I'm not going to get it, so.
it. Fair. That's fair. All right,
Can I
Dan.
hear it one more time just to
You
make
may.
sure?
You may. Here you go.
Memories, they're wonderful. My pain. Memories, they're wonderful. My pain.
Oh my god, dude. This is a 6'2", what you gonna do moment.
Oh,
So luckily this was just for pride, not for all the marbles in the belt. Memories, they're wonderful for the pain.
oh,
So close.
Damn.
So close. Respect.
oh.
All right.
Rick, why couldn't you possess me?
That was good. That's from the song Pain is Temporary off Friendship, Loyalty, Commitment. Everyone come up front, sing along. All right. So while I was queuing up the buttons, I was like, you know what, dude? I've gotten hit up by a couple different people in the last year or so that have said, what are the best guitar solos in punk and hardcore? And I haven't spent that much time on it because I've always had a number 1 and 2. So I was like, let me just queue them up on the buttons. And then recently, a record we did, I listened to it so much and I was like, oh my God, dude. One of the solos on this one has wedged its way in between 1 and 2. So it is number 2 now. It knocked number 3 down to 3. I want to play you these 3 solos and you guys can just comment on them. So the third best guitar solo, and also I'm not doing hardcore, I'm just doing punk straight up. It's all old shit. So yeah, this is the 3 best guitar solos in the history of punk. This is Misfits 138, number 3. Dude, always thought that was the second greatest guitar solo in the history of punk. What do you think, Dan?
I like the short burst of it. It's come straight back into the chorus again. Yeah, it's always been a little catchy part. It's more I guess it's a solo, but it could easily just be like a little bridge lead as well.
Yeah,
But I guess that's what a solo is, really.
It's walking that line, you know,
Yeah.
that little bendy at the end turns it into like maybe a solo. What do you think, Chris? How do you feel about this one?
It's perfectly simplistic. Like, you know, I don't know. You could say much more than that. It bangs.
Yeah, it's like they went there, right? Like they went all the way, you know,
Yeah,
full smooth brain, like just let's fucking go for it. And they did it full on YOLO. I love it. Okay. So the solo that knocked Misfits 138 down to number 3. Staffen, don't get at me if I say this wrong. Anti-CMX, When the Innocent Die. What's up? Dude, ultimate face melter. It's like taking that Misfit solo and making it 6 times as long and just like wilder. I love this thing so much. It's so simple. Chris, listening to this, like it's wildly simple, but like it's amazing that they went there, right?
Yeah, I mean, they use the same concept of like, this is a solo anyone can play, but they do it and then they change the notes just enough to kind of like make it a little bit interesting so they can go like 10 times as long. But yeah, it's super sick.
Dude, it just sounds like a 14-year-old kid that got like, a new amp, and like he got like his first guitar amp and his parents are like gone and he like got to crank it for the first time. You know what I mean? And you're just going, and then when he goes, oh my God, it's so sick, dude. And it's so long. I love like, there's a lot of good hardcore guitar solos, but I feel like there's this like guilt in hardcore that like, oh, you got to keep the solo short. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, just let it breathe. Like you're already doing a solo. People that hate it are going to hate it. So like, just fucking go for it, dude. Let it go as long as it needs to go. You know what I mean? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say, when you use the example of like a kid just wanking a solo for the first time, like maybe if that kid had some Valium or something and was just like, because I feel like when I see the kid in the basement, I see just a bunch of finger mashing, but like give him some Valium, some sort of like sedative or something. So he's just like can lie back in the cut and just let it go without getting too crazy.
See, I think this just sounds like when you're like in that perfect loose state, like in my drinking days, like I found like you bowl the best between like beer 4 and 6. You know what I mean? Like you're a lot looser, you're feeling it, but you're not sloppy yet. You know what I mean? So like you're loose enough that you can go for it, but you're not sloppy enough that you can't bowl. And like that's how the solo sounds.
Yeah, I also like that it starts like lower, like it's a lower note than you would typically see people, up on the neck getting high on solos,
It's all a vibe, dude. It's a straight up vibe. Dan, what do you think about this one?
I think Jimmy Page and Joe Walsh were like, hey, man, that solo's going on too long.
I love it.
Just kidding. It's really good. And it is. And that part where it goes, where you said it goes up and does the it almost, it's like, obviously it's way faster and way more like frantic and spastic kind of, but it gives me a little reminiscent of like the way the guitar does the at the beginning of In the Name of Progression.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I was thinking, because, dude, I've listened to this Anti-CMX song so many fucking times. Anti-CMX so many times since we did that episode, like for this solo, that I was like, dude, did this knock the number 1 off? Like maybe it did, but then I listened to the number 1 again. I was like, nope, you can't, dude. Number 1, still the Wipers with Don't Know What I Am. Here we go. Dude, the way he milks that note so much, and then it goes into like the feedback, like the way it fades from like that milking of the note into like the feedback, and then like hits the drum roll and he starts shredding. Oh my God. Yeah, still my favorite. Chris, what do you think about that one?
Super soulful, like channeling a little bit of, I don't know, BB King or something, some sort of blues stuff to just, like you said, let that note ride, bend it a little bit. Love it.
Yeah, it's another one of like being so ill because he had like the confidence to let it breathe. You know what I mean? So sick. Dan, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, sleazy.
Little sleazy.
Got a sleazy vibe to it. It's really cool. And it's got confidence. You know, it's like not rushing into it, letting it just vibe out for a bit before transitioning and playing a few more notes. It's super good.
Hell yeah. Okay, everyone.
You know
There will
what
always-
though?
Yeah, what?
Cocksparrer, we're coming back. I'm going to give you a Posy Chris timestamp. 1 minute 34. That's the one I'm putting forward.
I can pull it. Maybe, and we'll play it. And everyone else, get at me, 185 miles south at gmail.com. If you got better punk solos, punk or hardcore, hit me up. Let me know. Timestamp them for me. And maybe we'll play them and critique them on the episodes. And Dan and Chris, you can get at me too. But let's move on and talk some new stuff. I wanted to do a few shout outs before we get into it. First off, Vendetta. They put out their LP Death Grip on Indecision Records. Vendetta's been going since, 2003, 2004. So, and just did their first LP. So, respect. It's a bunch of the dudes from Retaliate. And hell yeah, dudes, congratulations. That thing was like years in the making. So it's sick that it's out. Also, a band called Get Pieced out of San Diego. They put out an EP. The Ghetto Pound EP. They're repping for San Diego hardcore, so respect on that. Also, I apologize if I botched this name. Listener wrote in, his band is Intrafuego from Santiago, Chile. Cimientos is the EP. And yeah, this thing is like professional as fuck. It's like kind of melodic metalcore-y. So it's not my favorite shit, but if you like that stuff, it is so well done. So check that out, Intrafuego from Santiago, Chile. And also, I saw this one. It got put. The dude hit me up, and also I saw it on the No Echo Facebook. Mariscal X. Actually, Chris, you hit me up with this too. Out of Buenos Aires, Argentina. Una Yarda Mas EP. This is a dude, his wife, and his son, I believe, who's 11 years old. And they put out one of the better Youth Crew EPs I've heard in the last 20 years, dude. What the fuck?
It's
It
good.
rips. It
Dude,
rips.
it rips hard. Now, serious points off for the Pats jersey. So it's cool. This kid's 11. He doesn't know any better. But, by the time he hits 13, 14, wants to be a man, get the boy a Raiders jersey. Come on. Also,
Even Las Vegas?
even Las Vegas Raiders, that's what's up. Dude, we'll accept a Seahawks jersey on this podcast, for Chris. But Pats,
If he doesn't want to be a full-on criminal.
dude, that's true. That's true. But Pats, get the fuck out of here. We hate Boston sports. Some we can all agree on.
The only jersey that's going to be worse than a Pats jersey is an LA Chargers.
Nope, Pat's still worse, dude.
Actually, you're right. You're right. I hate
Okay.
the Patriots so much.
Okay. Also, the Scarab, the new EP came out today, so we haven't had time to listen to it enough to talk about it. It's out on Rebirth Records, so handle business. We'll probably talk it next episode. If we don't, it's sick. So handle that.
We're going
Yeah.
to.
All right. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk this episode, the band is called Crashing Forward. They're out of Chula Vista, California. They put out an LP called Silent All These Years on Indecision Records. Dan, what's up with this?
This is, if I was going to describe, like, if you want to synthesize a release down to one word, earnest. Like, this is so earnest. Like, the lyrics are so open-hearted and so plain and straightforward, with just searching for connection, searching to make the world better, searching for the reason that we all get into hardcore. Like, that it is so much more than just music, and it is completely evident in the lyrics. And then the sound to me is very earnest too, because it's very much along the lines of like, if you were thinking about 1989, 1990 Southern California hardcore, like cross, like a No for an Answer, or, some of the Chula Vista stuff from then, like Amenity, etc. But then channeling that with the sound of Swizz and Dag Nasty, to be fair. And Artie is the vocalist. He's the brother of Rob Moran, and he has been a long time San Diego stalwart, and it's rad to see him fronting a band now. And his lyrics are very, very present and very in today's world, and hoping for a better world as this world keeps sliding into dangerous, sad times. The vocal style, I would say, is a bit Swizz, a bit Dag Nasty, and a lot Lance from Faded Grey to an extent. If anybody's listening, they want to think like, oh, what's this going to sound like? It's like that. It's very without a lot of grit on the screaming. It's really clear. It's really great. It rides over the music super well. The music's beefy and really well written songs. The drumming is fantastic. Like Sal, the drummer, was formerly he's in a million bands, but some people might know him from Some Girls, or Secret Fun Club, the San Diego band that he's been doing for a long time. It's just a really, really solid hardcore release, especially for people who are liking, a modern take on an older style that is well loved. It's really fantastic. I highly recommend it, and I love the passion and the thought and the open heart that has gone into this release.
Yeah, to me, I had trouble like placing what I thought it sounded like. So, but it does sound somewhere in between like the late 80s rev stuff, like post that, but pre like hardcore goes metal in the 90s.
Yep.
So
very much so.
Somewhere in that range, although I can't really put my finger on it. I will just say I love how clean this sounds. It's such a clean recording, and the drums sound so nice and live. Listening to a lot of recordings nowadays, like sometimes on like metal recordings, I love like the fake sounding drums, but it can be like very grating after a while when everyone has like fake ass sounding drums on everything, especially punk bands. So this just the drums are recorded clean. The drumming's great. There's not much distortion on the guitars. Everything here, you can hear it. Audie's voice is nice. Sounds good. And I've seen him open a handful of shows. This band's good enough. It's time to let them play second. You know what I mean? Like they're taking their lumps, like playing first on a bunch of fucking shows. So what's up? Let's elevate them. And my favorite song, believe it or not, is Disassemble, which is the slow song.
That's mine too. That's
okay.
My favorite.
Yeah, standout parts is like the little one string guitar grooves like on the chorus. You can see a pattern here, dude, of what I like about guitar shit. I like that simple one string shit that cuts things up. And sick. No Rice first song, great. For my ear, some of the songs are a little long, but that's just because I'm stupid. So it's more on me than on you. But yeah, I mean, like I don't know. 90 seconds.
Like the last song too.
90 seconds is the ideal like time for a song in my head. And when it goes past that, it's like, fuck, if you're not Iron Maiden, like it gets a little hard. But it's a sick. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Earnest, but not Ernest P. Worrell. I get I certainly heard like a lot of the influences that Dan mentioned from, No for an Answer to Swizz is a big one, I think. And then maybe like flourishes of Dag Nasty here and there. I also probably not an influence, but I hear a little bit of Missing 23rd in there. Just like maybe some of the speed and like the vocal styles. But yeah, this is really cool. Fast hardcore is my favorite hardcore, and this is it's not all fast because there's a lot of like those kind of Swizz. I'm horrible at describing these things, especially drums, but like those Swizz kind of jazzy-ish beats. And then is that I don't have credits, but is that Rob that sings guest vocals on Surveillance?
Yep.
Sounds like I could tell just like by his voice. It's cool. Zach probably hates that part, but I think I think it breaks up the record well, gives it some diversity, even if it's this style of music's version of stripper metal, maybe.
it's no Be There, right? It's no Be There, but it does cut up the record, so I will give it that. Rob's got a beautiful, smooth voice, just like his beautiful, smooth face. So
The art's really cool too. Like it looks kind of like a classic jazz record a little bit.
I spoke with Ati about that when we were out in Philly, and he was telling me that it's based on an old I don't know what genre of Latino music it is from, but it's from an old one from the 60s, and they really repurposed that style to make it look just like the original record.
I love that. But it's still like, it looks enough like a fast hardcore record, but like rides that line between those two things. I think it's cool.
Sick with it. All right, let's go on and talk the next thing. We're going to talk Echo Chamber out of Cologne, Germany. They put out a 2-song tape, Contact/Life Disintegrated Scheme Records. This came out in September, and that's the same label that did the awesome Wreckage LP from I think January or February. In
January 2nd.
January 2nd. So yeah, early this year, but still in contention for LP of the year. That thing is so sick. But yeah, Echo Chamber, we talked them back on episode 185, I believe. And here they are again. Chris, what do you think about this?
I think it's really cool. And before I talk about them, like we didn't play in Cologne on this last tour, but like the people that I talked to in Germany and in Europe, like all kind of said like Cologne's like one of the poppinest scenes right now. Like there's a lot of energy there. And I think, Echo Chamber clearly is one of like the hottest newer bands from Germany. And I think, I assume that their shows there are pretty poppin'. Echo Chamber features a member or members of the band Spark, which is another band that I really like right now. Andy from Spirit Crusher actually sings in that band too. But yeah, this is really cool. I don't know. Is this a demo or is it like 2 singles from an upcoming? Do you guys know?
As of now, it's like a tape. I think it's a promo for something upcoming.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's dope. I like the demo. Very New York hardcore, fast and hard, plenty of bounce, some dive bombs, some creativity, good drums. Yeah, it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, the first thing that stands out to me on this is like just the recording is fabulous, right? Like the tones are great. Like the guitar is like about as like savage sounding as you can get before like you drip into like metal or some like dirt genre. It just sounds big. The gang sound big. The bass tone's good. The singer's got a great voice. And yeah, it's 2 songs. There's not a lot to sink your teeth into, but they're both good. Like Contact is sick. Bounce opening. It's got like that slow, fast beat on the verse and chorus, then a bounce mosh on the end. They change up a little bit, and then Life Disintegrated. It's like a slow, fast verse, and then to the mid-tempo chorus, slow, fast verse, and then a big moshy end. That's like, for hardcore, like that's my favorite song structure. Fast part, mid-tempo part, fast part, slower part. Like that's so sick. And yeah, this is great. Like everything about it's great. The thing we said on the demo was just it would be even better if there was like some vocal hooks, and like I still feel the same way about that. Only because like this band is so sick, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things like when you're this good, almost like there's a little bit more of a critical eye on you because it's like, God damn, you could be perfect. You know what I mean? Like if this band had like vocal hooks, like obviously no one can write fucking Judge New York Crew again, right? Like that 7-inch, but fuck, if there were some like if there were some like big choruses on songs like this, it could be like straight up the best band in hardcore, in like my opinion. You know what I mean? It's like that close. So obviously like that's one of the hardest things to do is write hooks in hardcore, but like, God damn, this sounds so good. And if it just had that, it would probably be my favorite band in the world. So, yep.
feel that.
Dan, what do you think about this? Oh, so go ahead, Chris.
Just one other thing. Like, I love how that first song comes in. It's like feedback, and then it's like on the bouncing on the toms, like do 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 do.
Yes.
So hard, but not hard, like bouncy hard.
Yep. Yeah, it's like that modern post set it off New York hardcore. It's so fucking good. That's 29 years ago, but like, you know, like modern hardcore, it's like, I don't know, it's fucking great. Dan, what do you think?
This thing rules. Straight up. Production wise, they are definitely channeling being in the studio during the recording of Set It Off.
Yeah.
Like it has the same like slight limitation that the recording of Set It Off has, but it's intentional here, in my opinion. And it sounds fantastic. It's really great. Even the way the vocals sound like fuck you, you know, it's giving that same like vibe. Now you say there's no like vocal like, or that you want the vocal hooks to be turned up to 11, you know, but that part on what's it called, Life Disintegrated, where it does the wah, and it goes into the like the build for the breakdown, and then the vocals come in on the breakdown, and it's just like the hardest like 2-step part. It's sick.
Yeah, but you're not like saying like you can't tell me the lyrics, right?
No, you're right. You're right, but I'm just saying like
I mean, you're saying that
melody on that part is cool.
No, that's the thing. His vocal dynamics are great, right? Like he put that like going into that part, and then his voice is great. You know what I mean? His voice is great. His like vocal cadence on the breakdown is awesome. Like all that, right? Like it's got it all. It just doesn't have the hook. And like again, that's just such a hard thing to do. And I'm only being critical because it's so good. And I think that if they had it, they'd be my favorite band. I don't know.
It's really good though. Like these two songs, because the last time we talked about them, we really liked it, obviously, but this songwriting has improved even more from what we first got. Plus, the learning how they want to sound in the studio has improved as well, and it's really great. It's just like this. You know, this was recorded in 1995 because Set It Off was recorded in 94, so it's like their peers of Set It Off era Madball like kind of doing a similar thing, but not like copying, but just channeling, you know? It's really great. But the dive bombs on Contact are so sick because they like go dive down and then they dive back up. I really like it.
It's sick. It's the best thing they've done, these two songs, right? It's better than the demo, which was already like one of the best demos of last year, you know? And then they put out a song this year on that Scheme LP comp. And like, that's a good song too. These two songs are better. So it's like they're doing their best shit. And this is ill. I mean, if you like 90s New York hardcore, like this band is where it's at. And you know we love it. All right, let's go on and talk Chain Whip from Vancouver, British Columbia, up in America's Hat, Canada. They put out an LP, Call of the Knife, on Neon Taste Records. Came out in October. Chris, I think we talked the first LP on the pod, but you love this thing. What do you think about it?
Yeah, and I think that last record was technically a 12-inch EP, but again, it's one of those that's like right on the border. I think it was like 8 songs, 7 or 8 songs. Yeah, I love this. I love this band. I think this is a really good follow-up. The songs rip. There's some diversity. The thing that really stands out to me, like the thing that makes this band special, is the absolute venom with which the vocalist just spits out the lyrics. Like it sounds like he's attacking the mic with every syllable, and it sounds so punk. Slight criticism, for my taste, the mix or the mastering is the only thing that's keeping it from perfection. Like, I think the vocals and drums are way up front, which I appreciate, but I just feel like maybe the guitars are a bit too low. Again, it doesn't sound bad. It's just like not quite perfect. It still rips. It's still one of my favorite records of the year so far. Still lots of like the more pissed off, less weird Dead Kennedys. I even hear, although I doubt that this is an influence, like I hear some kind of Nerve Agents in there at times. And then maybe like a bit of like, I don't know, this is weird, but like a bit of like the more punk B-52s kind of stuff at times, like very occasionally. There's a lot of hits on this, and I'm still kind of like scratching the surface on my familiarity, like the amount of times I've listened to it, but like, you know, Heat Wave, Something's Gotta Give, State Hornets.
You mean Hate Wave?
Yeah, sorry, did I say Heat Wave?
Yeah.
Hate Wave, yeah. King Rat. Yeah, this is a really good record. I really like it a lot, and killer artwork too.
Yeah, dude, the art is so good. It would be like an art of the year contender for me if, dude, I hate the color peach. You know, like,
Oh, come on.
yeah, I hate it, dude. You know, if this was on a nice baby blue or a purple or something like that, like I'd like it. You know, I hate that. Like, go all the way pink. I can dig that. You know what I mean?
I think it's got to be up there.
No,
But-
I mean, yeah, the art is sick. It's just that color
Okay.
choice is wonk, dude. It's like go all the way pink, go red, like whatever you want to do, but like that half-ass peach, I hate it, dude. Now, okay, Chris, you called out Nerve Agents and felt weird about saying that, but dude, I think you're like really close because when I listen to this, like especially that first song, Call of the Knife, I was like, God damn, this is like a more punk Redemption 87.
That
You know,
King
like-
Rat song too. It's
Yes.
so Nerve Agents.
Yeah, like the bookends, you know, like this dude, he doesn't do like the snarl, but like the way he attacks is very similar to like Eric Ozine when he like lets loose. So that's super sick. And then also it's like mashed up with some like Poison Idea stuff. Like that song Toothless sounds like it could have been off, you know, one of the first like Poison Idea LPs. So good. And then they can write a catchy song, right? That hate wave song, living in a hate wave now, living in a hate wave now. It's catchy.
Dude, talk
dude.
about vocal hooks.
Yeah, it's a mid-tempo, catchy ass hook, you know. So and if you're doing a record like an LP, you need that shit to cut up the record. And yeah, if I was gonna have a critique, you know, it's only because like my attention span's short, and this record it's not short. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It's a little long for me, maybe, but whatever. Like you can't knock someone for writing punk songs and wanting to put them out. You know what I mean? That's more on me than them.
That and the peach.
Yeah, that and the peach. Couple last notes. That the Decapitated song. That riff is so close to Seeing Red. It's epic. And then also like the King Rat to end it like that, like how it just kind of falls apart, but it's like fast and sick. Like what a great ending song. This thing's killer. Like it is a great hardcore punk LP, and I'm here for it, dude. You know, bands like this, bands like Restraining Order, putting out hardcore punk LPs, like fucking A. You gotta love it. Dan, what do you think about this?
I think this is a really good record. I loved what they did. Was it last year? Yeah. The red. It was red, not peach. EP from last year that was fantastic, and I've been looking forward to this. And then when the Call of the Knife went up like early, we're all sharing that one song around before the LP dropped and just really liking it. And you know what? I love the song titles, like Hate Wave, Teenage Kinks instead of Teenage Kicks, like The Flag Means You Suck, like all of that stuff. I think the music is fantastic. It's got like revved up single coil, as we've described it here, like blistering punk. It's fast, it's hard. The Nerve Agents is a very good comparison, because it's not straightforward, even though it's channeling straightforward punk, but it's definitely creative, definitely super well written. Now, if I'm gonna be critical Chris or zesty Zach,
Ooh,
I wish the vocals didn't have like whatever that little bit of like echo, because of the way that he attacks so much with syllables, bat, bat, da, da, like that. With the echo of the reverb, it makes it just sit not as well over the music as I wish it would. Even though, don't get me wrong, this is really an A tier LP. It's fantastic. I just, when we have our little critiques, that's one for me that I wish there wasn't like a slight reverb or whatever it is on the vocal, or as dripped with it as the vocals are. I would like it pulled back a little bit. And yeah, like Chris said, maybe the guitar's raised just a touch, but the playing on this is fantastic. The songwriting is fantastic. And yeah, I feel if that like slap back on the vocals wasn't as strong, I could hear the words even more. I really love the State Hornet song, especially on the verses. Like Zach and I always talk about, if you can nail like a really great verse, the song is already ahead of most. You're not just relying on the chorus. And that song has just incredible verses. Yeah, this is fantastic, and I really want to see this band live.
Yeah, Dan, you might be right. Like the vocals might be a little buried. And I would just say this dude has such a sick voice. Like put him out front. Like go listen to Spidey's song by Redemption 87. You know what I mean? Like that's a wild ass voice hitting like on note one over the top of everything. And it sounds so sick. And like I kind of think this dude could be exactly like that, right? Like, you're getting wild. That's part of what makes this band so awesome. So don't be scared.
I think they're very audible. I just think that they're buried with the effect on them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, the effect buries it
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. And it's like the effect is not what's making his voice rad. His voice is rad in his delivery.
absolutely.
So like effects outside of like a little bit of reverb never make anyone's voice rad. Like people just sound cool the way they are, it's fucking hardcore, dude. Don't hide behind effects. Anyway, let's go on to the next thing. Oh, we're going to talk Leatherman out of Melbourne, Australia. Put out a 2-song 7-inch, Telephone / Trying to Forget on Legless Records, who's putting out basically all my favorite shit. Dude, holy cow. Like when something new and sick comes out of Melbourne, like this one just like is rubbing me in the right spot. I love the fucking... What's that?
When are we moving to Melbourne?
Yeah, well, they got everything I'm scared of, right? Sharks and spiders, so I don't know. And the weather in San Diego is perfect. But yeah, like This is so sick. It's got like that Melbourne sound that I love so much, right? Like that Street Sweeper 7-inch, like split system. It's the Saints and Radio Birdman meet Thin Lizzy. And yeah, it's so sick. Telephone, first song, so catchy, both in the guitar hooks and the vocal hooks. Just grab you right away. It's like if you're not grabbed in the first 15 seconds, you don't like it. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But it's like one of those songs where you hear it once, it's in your head, for better or for worse. And her voice is so good. She has a very high register, like, a high voice. And I was just listening. I was like, fuck, that'd be so ill to hear her sing Ignite in My Time. Like her voice would like slide in and like do those like early Zoli records so well. I would love to hear it. Also, Respect on Trying to Forget, spelling it out all Rick the Lifestyle. So what's up? Yeah, and then also on Trying to Forget, like the solo at the end is so sick. Dan, what do you think about this one?
So good. The catchiness is just it like you say, it's there in the guitars, it's there in the vocals, it's there even the way the drums transition to like straightforward bat 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 and then like just giving you that like almost like 50s 60s almost like Motown beats to an extent, like so good. The first song, Telephone, you're so right. Like her vocals are up there. Like when you try and sing along, like when you're like listening along, you're like, ah! Like you just know you can't get there. But the Trying to Forget song, like da 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 da, like it's so catchy. Like the verses, the chorus. Yeah, Melbourne on top yet again. They're down under, but they're on top.
Is this stuff falling into like power pop more, Dan, or is this straight up punk still?
I would say track 1, you could say, is good old punk. Track 2 is definitely power pop.
Yeah, it's walking that line enough that like I'm still loving it. But yeah, some of it's getting pretty close to that line. But man, 2 songs of this, so good. You know what I mean? I love it. Chris, what do you think?
But the sleaziest power pop you'll ever hear with those riffs. I like it a lot. I hadn't heard this band before. You guys put it on my radar, so yeah, I dig it a lot. It's a similar formula to Sheer Mag. You have the Thin Lizzy riffs, and then the vocals similar, kind of like high register. Although I feel like with Sheer Mag, don't get me wrong, I like Sheer Mag a lot, but I feel like with Sheer Mag, the vocals sound a little bit more detached from the music, whereas with Leatherman, the vocals like fit it really well. And I think you guys talk about like the high register on particularly on the first song, but like I think the vocalist of this band drops down a little bit lower than the singer of Sheer Mag does, so maybe a little bit of range and a little bit more gruffness. But yeah, I like this a lot. It's really cool. The vocals kind of have a bit more oomph and I don't know, they sit really well on the riff. It's cool. I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, there is,
And
she does have a range. She can drop down. But it like it'll creep right up on you again. You know what it's like?
For sure.
It's like Dan's saying. It's like it's hard to sing along to the high parts, and you kind of like she gets you with the low parts, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm singing along to it, and then there it goes. It's like I'm not good enough of a singer to like stay low when she goes high.
Yeah, no doubt. One other thing too, I'll add is like I love how clean this is. You mentioned it when we were talking Crashing Forward, but I'll say it here too. Like this sounds super clean. Like we've talked some other stuff on the pod where it's a similar style, but they go for a little bit more dirty production, and I can never tell if I want it to be cleaner so that it's just more crisp, or if that takes away some of the punk edge. And Leatherman kind of goes there where I wish like some of those other bands would clean it up a little bit, because this sounds super crisp.
Yeah, I love it. Also, like, again, I was saying the Saints Radio Birdman meet Thin Lizzy. There's just a hint of early Maiden in here too. Like just a hint. Like the way they're coming in and out of that solo at the end. Um, I don't know. I hear a little bit of it. Dan, you want to say anything else on this before we move on?
I just can't wait to hear more from them. Like, I didn't know about them until, you put this together for us to listen to. And then I listened to it like 8 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, I need this if someone can grab it. I really hope the Legless gets like solid US distro at some point. I know that Sorry State gets it sometimes and Total Punk gets it sometimes, but also like sometimes like the stuff sells out. Like I had to order that Street Sweeper like from Australia because I didn't want to take any chances. It's like one of my favorite things of this year, and like I don't know. It's hard doing that mail order, right? Like fuck. But anyway, need that and also need this next thing that we're gonna talk. The band is called Rifle out of London, England. It's a 7-inch called Under Two Flags. I believe it came out on One Little Independent Records. I apologize if I'm wrong. You can get the 7-inch through their Bandcamp. God damn. I heard this like a few days ago, and then I was listening to it today a bunch. And I hate you guys. I was like, can we please talk this? I know it's late. So everyone, I apologize if we haven't made enough notes on this, but like I had to get this one on because this one is so good. If I was going to describe it in modern stuff, maybe like production wise is kind of like that band Bootlicker that we talked on here that we love. Them meeting like Easy Action and maybe a little bit of that first Helicopters LP. Like because the vocals are so shredded, it's kind of like the Easy Action thing, but it's just banging mid-tempo punk that has like, I don't know, it's rocking, it's wild, it's raging, it's fucking banging, and like the singer just sounds like he doesn't give a fuck. Then like, on that first song, they layer in like the little nice guitar melodies over the top, like the full coup de grace, you know what I mean? And it's out in 90 seconds. It's like, it's literally everything I want in like punk. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to that first song and you don't like it, like straight up fuck you. You know what I mean? Like it is so good. And they're just a band like you can tell like the dudes are down strumming. Like there's no cheating. It's only down picking. Like they're not playing. And yeah, I don't know. Like how do you top that first song? Like the only thing you do is like do it a little bit faster. That's what they do on the second song. And then like this thing just never lets up, never takes a foot off the gas, and just pumps the whole way through. You're banging your head, you're fucking rocking, and goddamn, Rifle, London, England, maybe my favorite 7-inch of the year. I don't know. I mean, like, I need to sit with this for another month or two, but holy shit, this thing rips. Dan, what do you think?
Well, don't forget, Street Sweeper came out this year, right?
I know it's still number one. And the Scarab demo came out on 7-inch too. So next month we'll do the year end.
I know. I can't wait to hopefully have a small influence in some of the categories instead of just being told what I'm allowed to vote for.
Well, you're hosting, Vanna. And you got the Super 7 anyway. But yeah, you'll have your input, Dan. You'll have your input.
Pat Sajak can't do it alone. Vanna's still got to turn them letters.
That's true. Yeah, what do you think about this?
I fucking love it. Rob Moran turned this me onto this about a month ago, and it's, or at least the first couple songs that went up, and I think it went like they added the rest of them just recently. And God, it's so good. I mean, you do a very good description of saying like Bootlicker comparison by saying that it's that kind of like single. Well, the distortion comes from the guitars being turned up loud, but
it comes from the bass. The distortion comes from like a really dirty bass. It's like the guitars don't have much distortion, but the bass is super dirty and turned up.
But the guitars sound very wiry and loud because of how loud they're being like recorded instead of like, and how aggressively they're being played, So there's so much atmosphere over the recording. Like the noisiness is in the recording. in a good way. You know, like earlier we said, sometimes like the noisiness or an attempt to kind of do something is giving it like detracting from it. This, it really works. And, you know, vocally, what this reminds me of a little bit, it's just like if Watty's on a 10, this vocalist is on a 9. It's like Watty on a 9.
Yeah, maybe Waddy mixed with like a later career John Brannon a little bit. Like there's a little bit of like that, how he sounds on Easy Action. Dan, that's a good call, like on the distortion thing, because like I think what's going on here is there's not a ton of distortion, but these guys like have their tones like fully locked in. So they're not going for like, oh, let's sound like this in the studio. It sounds like this is probably what they sound like. And you're right. Like that guitar sounds like it's cranked up. Very similar. Obviously, you can't compare anything to Nervous Breakdown, but in the way that like Nervous Breakdown, when Greg Ginn recorded that, like he didn't have a distortion pedal. It was just he turned his amp up all the way to fucking 11 so he could drown out the noise downstairs. You know what I mean? And that's like literally the sound of the amp being all the way cranked that you just, it gets distorted from being so loud. And like, yeah, this has that loud sound with that super dirty, meaty bass underneath it, which just gives it a savage ass tone.
Yeah. Because it's the perfect marriage of that. Like it all sounds so good together, and then the drums are just lying like under the cut, like just moving this along great. I really love I love the first song and the last two songs, like Under Two Flags. Like you say, if you don't like that song, fuck you. And then Warfare. And then 44, the last song has almost like the fast cars, cheap thrill. Like it almost has like that vocal melody.
Yeah.
Like
that's a great call out.
Circle Jerks, you know, but in it's done slightly different, but it's the first thing that pops in your mind when you hear that part. So it's great that hopefully that's an homage, or maybe it's just a lucky accident. But either way, this is a really great release, and I can't wait to hear more from this band.
Dude, again, like the Echo Chamber though, it's like, dude, if this band had some choruses, god damn, you know? It's like if they go listen to This Shit Is Genius by fucking Dillinger 4 10 times in a row, you know, and come back and write your next record.
Or Coxsparrow.
Yeah, or Coxsparrow, that's right. But no, I mean like, but D4 has like this loud, dirty quality of the recordings, like, you know, in the 7 inches and the first 2 LPs.
True. I was just trying to push them to channel their London forefathers.
Fair. That's fair. Chris, what do you think about this?
Well, I don't really like the first song. No, I'm just kidding. No, full disclosure. Yeah, Zach hit us up earlier today. Today was a crazy day at work, and I didn't really have a chance to listen to it. I put it on in the background, and I liked what I heard, but I don't feel like I gave it enough attention to really talk it this week. So, yeah, what you guys said, and you know what I heard while I was trying to multitask and get stuff done for the man. This is really cool. I dig it, and I'm excited to get into it a little bit more, especially after like some of the things that you guys said. So get back, ask me next month.
Hell yeah. Well, everyone, it's going to be on the playlist 185 Miles South at 185milessouth.com. There's a playlist link at the top of the page. You can click that and check out the music that we're talking about. Also on Spotify, you can look for 185 Miles South and check it out there. Chris will listen to Rifle on the playlist, and so can you. All right, I wanted to do a new segment on here. Someone hit me up after we did the 90s Youth Crew episode and said, you got to talk the Path of Resistance LP. And I was like, you know what? We should talk that LP. And I was thinking about side A, side B in it. And then I was thinking, you know what, dude? That's a really good LP, but it would be a great 7-inch. if like some of the fat was trimmed off it. And I think there's a lot of hardcore LPs that are like that. You know what I mean? They're pretty good LPs. It's really hard to write a hardcore LP without any melody, and without being like full on metal. So like there's a lot of LPs out there that I think you could trim down and make some great 7-inches, and maybe we'll do that in some upcoming episodes. But yeah, we're going to do it here first for the Path of Resistance Who Dares Wins LP. Came out on Victory Records 1996. I don't really know how we're going to do this, so we're just going to go for it.
We're going to put the full quote unquote 7-inch on the playlist.
Yeah. So basically we got 7 minutes on each side, right? So if you want to fill it up, you could. I think you gotta give the people their money's worth, right? And probably do 4 songs, because up to me, I only really love 3 songs off this thing. But I believe that Dan chose Who Dares Wins on a Super 7. So if he loves that song, we might be able to get 4 songs on here. The ones I'm taking, the first song, See the Damage, of course. The song Broken Heroes, second song, and then Counter. Good God, man. I'll get into all those songs. But Dan, what would you take here off this LP?
Well, I'm skipping Broken Heroes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make my argument for it, but let's come up with some consensus first. So what do you got?
See the Damage, definitely.
Okay.
Counter, definitely. Trust Isn't Free is 100% for me. And Who Dares Wins. Those, if we're going for 4 songs, that's my choices, but I could go a 6-song 7-inch with this thing.
Well, if it fits, it might, because these songs they're all around like 2:30. But we're trying to make it great, Dan.
Yeah, so, yeah. But I like this a lot more than you do.
I know you do.
This was like, for this year this came out, this might have been the record for me.
Okay.
Or at least for 6 months of the year.
Okay. All right. This is the year demonstrating my style, but okay. Chris, what do you think? What are the crucial songs off this if you had to choose?
I mean, number one's Counter. Like, that's heads and tails above any of these other songs, in my opinion. Just there's nothing compares to This World Won't Defeat Me.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome song starting it back. My vote would be to put it second, just so that it's got some room to climb, as you listen to it further, instead of just blowing your wad on the first track. You guys didn't mention this, but I think either the first song on side B or the last song, like my second favorite song on this record is The Chain. And I love like the tempo change.
Okay.
I think it, I mean, it's a 7-inch, so we don't really need to overthink like the formula of like, okay, we got a fast song, we got a slow song, we got a mid tempo, like you do with the LP. But like, I think it's got enough diversity from some of the other stuff that I wanted on there. That's my vote. I think Who Dares Wins as well. I See the Damage. Broken Heroes, I could take or leave. But yeah, the one that I need for sure is Counter, and then the other one that I would really want, if I can talk you guys into it, is The Chain.
I love The Chain.
Okay, well, so here's what we got going on. So you said Who Dares Wins also, so that's going to get 2. The Chain, we're still at 1. And then Broken Heroes, we're still at 1. Let me make the case for Broken Heroes. So also we got See the Damage. We all 3 said that one, right? Or were you out on?
Yeah,
were you out on that one, Chris?
We all 3 said it.
Okay, so Counter and See the Damage are there for sure. Okay, so I don't have to pitch See the Damage. Don't have to pitch Counter, but I'm going to talk Counter real quick because it's so fucking good. This is one of the greatest hardcore songs ever. Just starting with like that head bop, like like how can you not bop your head to like just the way it kicks in, and having songs that have everything kick in on like the first beat, you know, the singing
From
and
day
all the
one.
music. Yeah, and yeah, right, dude, totally.
From
From
beat
day
one.
one, schools per media, and the way it goes media, like that's sick, dude. It's so good. And then of course that like the scale progression on the Youth Crew toms with the "This World Won't Defeat Me" to the straight build up, the tom build up, and then going like fast on the verse, like the speed picking, and then straight into like the mid tempo breakdown chorus, whatever you want to call it. The "I have my own mind and I make my own choices." Holy shit, dude! Talking about hooks on hardcore songs, this is it, dude. You know what I mean? This thing is so catchy, so good. But okay, let me make my argument for Broken Heroes. I think the first half of the song is whatevs, and so I think that's why you guys are judging it. But that breakdown riff is so ill. That and then coming in on like the mid tempo, like it kind of teases you. You think it's going to come in on like a big mosh, but it goes to like kind of a mid tempo, like almost like I don't know, almost like a little bouncy funky. You know what I mean? So it kind of catches you off guard. And then when it goes fast, like on the ring outs, Dan, come on. This is like one of the best lines on the record for the straight edge kinfolk. I can't blame you for your uttered weakness, but you can't blame me for my disgust. Holy shit. You know what I mean? And it's just on the ring out. So it's like there's nothing else going on. There's no riff. It's not like buried in a verse. It's just like a dude like freestyling that line almost, which is like one of the craziest like knife in your heart lines on the record, you know, and like really waving that like hardcore straight edge flag. So I don't know. That's my argument for Broken Heroes. If you guys don't want it, it is what it is. We got See the Damage, we got Counter, we got Who Dares Wins, and yeah, you guys can choose the fourth one, and then we'll talk sequencing.
The chain.
Well,
Dude, let me talk the chain for a second, dude.
Okay.
well,
So, like, what's that?
I love the chain. We can do a 2 songs, one side, 3 song the other.
Let's make a deal. Yeah, the chain, it's long. That's one strike against it. But like the way like the tribal drums and like the bass come in, and then just like Carl just being Carl on that first verse. But then, dude, I don't know if it's like I'd have to listen to it again. I don't remember if it's like the chorus or like the second part of the verse, but it's like bah, beep, beep, bah, beep, beep, like with the harmonics. Dude, that riff is so sick, so hard. It's a bit of a plotter, but I feel like it's like I don't know, it's like their malfunction, you know, or their yeah.
If anything, like you could say it's like Burn, like the song Drown off their 7-inch, right? It's like the slow one. Although like it goes fast. Like my argument against the chain is it's too long. You know, obviously it's 3.5 minutes. We're trying to make a great 7-inch here. And I think that this would have been great if they would have shaved like a minute and a half off it. You know, like maybe if it didn't go fast, you know,
I
and
agree.
like
This
Yeah,
yeah.
but one thing it has that, you know, you were saying like you like the lyrical part of the second half of Broken Heroes, but this part, like, weed the weak from the strong until only the righteous stand. And then I love this because this is in early, you know, mid-90s, a sisterhood, a brotherhood united in a solid cell.
dude, it's 3.5 minutes. Like we're trying to make a great 7-inch. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think it's a good song, maybe even a standout song if you want to say that on an LP, right? When you're trying to cut it up and shit. But if we're trying to make a great hardcore 7-inch,
I mean, I hear you, but we will pull the chain tight, and then around there's crop worlds throughout at the end, like so sick. But yeah, now can I make my ploy, like my plea for my jammer for Trust Isn't Free?
okay, do it.
Okay, comes in with that amazing like bass it just sounds so good, and the drums are like tapping along, like, and it, it's just giving you vibe, and then it comes in, die, motherfuckers! We never want you back. You're unworthy of the honor that the title straight edge holds. Do you know how fucking much I fucking did bed dives to that? Like, and just wanted to X up so much that my entire hand was just black because it was the center of the X.
I think that there's a good argument for this song. So
it's so good.
This LP, it's just, for me, it's too monotone and too long and too repetitive for being like an LP, which is why we're doing this exercise to cut it down, because it's like the best stuff on here is some of the best stuff ever, right? But it just gets a little repeaty. And so I think that maybe by the time it gets to this song, this is like the second to last song, I'm like kind of just over it. So this might be a great piece of this exercise, right? Like, it would be pretty ill if we have this song and Who Dares Wins on, because basically we would be taking, I think, the first song, the fourth song, and the last two songs.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm good with that. We could put Shane on the CDR version, or the CD EP version. I mean,
that is exactly what it should be, Chris. It should be
with the skinny jewel case.
Yeah, these are the 4 songs on the 7-inch and the Extendo CD EP.
Or cardboard jewel case.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I mean, like Firestorm, right? You got that extra song. Okay.
Also, Zach, just to go with, more edge lyrics that you're gonna just love. The line where it comes in after the "My trust isn't free, spiteful, apathetic sellouts gag on their mocking words with time." It's so sick.
I do just want to say Edge Watch, because Dan didn't take the song that says, "I can't blame you for your utter weakness, but you can't blame me for my disgust." So,
hey, I said
Edge
I would
Watch.
gladly do a 3-song each side. So
yeah, I don't want to do the math right now to see what we can squeeze in. And I think that four songs of this, like, it's sick, dude. Like, you're really in the territory of like this being great.
Math's for nerds.
That's right.
So, this being like 5 years after, Youth Crew and a lot of them selling out, like, this just fuels this release. And, I, for one, am here for that.
Okay, how about the sequencing? Do we still want to keep... so Chris didn't want Counter to go first. So do we think that See the Damage it's the first song on the LP, it should still be the first song on the 7-inch? So we do See the Damage and Counter on side 1, and then Truth Isn't Free and Who Dares Wins on side B?
I say Counter and Trust Isn't Free, side 1. See the Damage and Who Dares Wins, side 2.
Okay, but if Chris didn't want Counter to be first, are we going Trust Isn't Free as starting the whole thing?
No, I'm saying I want Counter to be the track 1. So
I don't hate Counter there. I don't hate Counter opening, but it's just like the song is tears and tears better than any other song. So I feel like it's a little bit front heavy.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say, for the Super 7 people in the future to go, they're gonna need that. Well, if you're gonna pick a song, you should go with track 1 because it's usually just coming out the gate.
You're going for the streaming age.
Well, all right.
Reasoning.
All right. So let's run it like that then. So side A, Counter into Trust Isn't Free, and then side B, See the Damage, and then end it with Who Dares Wins. All right. I believe we have made a great 7-inch. So this first attempt is a win. And everyone, get at me. Let us know what LPs you want us to cut down into great 7-inches. I think we got to do the 10-Yard Fight LP. Because like when I was listening to that in preparation for the 90s Youth Crew, I never loved that LP, but there's some fucking bangers on there, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
So I think that's one we got to do. That's one we got to do.
I would also like to nominate Rusty Medals and Broken Badges for this exercise.
Possibly.
For real, I would love to see if we can get a great 7-inch out of it.
Of course we can. We can make a great 7-inch out of that. Dan, come on. It's got a few too many songs, but we can get a great 7-inch out of it. But let's do some that aren't our bands, right? First. And then we can do that maybe on your birthday next year. How about that?
I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool.
I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool.
Yo, what's up, motherfuckers? Old school.
All right, we are going old school. I wanted to talk the 7-inch by the band Abrasive Wheels. It's the Army song 7-inch. Came out on Abrasive Records, so most likely self-released. And it came out March 1981. A while back, I did a project where I listened to 1,000 punk 7-inches that came out pre-1984. Because I think 1984 is like kind of when everything gets blown out. There's like a lot of bad bands by then. But everything like kind of pre-84 is somewhat notable. And I think there's a higher percentage of good shit. Well, after doing that project, I don't believe that anymore. But I was glad I did it. There is a lot of great shit. And this is one of the things that I listened to where it was just like, okay, it's 3 songs on a 7-inch and I can't decide which one's the best. It almost felt like they got better and better. And it's just like straight up 3 bangers. It's like early 1981. It's like, it's not super clean sounding. Like a lot of the UK stuff, like sometimes it can have like a nice clean recording, which is cool in its own right. But this is just a little dirtier. The guitar is a little dirtier and it's just great, catchy street punk. I love it so much. Dan, what do you think about this?
This is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets because these verses are just melodious and amazing but punk as fuck at the same time. And yeah, it's not clean, but it's not dirty. Like it's in that perfect pocket. So the melody is still out front, but the aggression is there too, and you can just know what it would be like to be there at their show in like 81, 82, just arm in arm singing along to this stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, did you say like you can't really like do the argument of what the best song is on the 7-inch?
Yeah, I mean, like all 3, like I can make a case for all 3 of them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it's like each song is a standout, but also like the record's better as a sum of all parts, which is a 3-song 7-inch. It's wild.
Yeah, but that got my marching orders. Like,
yes, that verse is out of this world.
It's out of the world, but then the chorus, like you think, oh, the chorus can't go any better, and then it's like you gotta fight for your word, fight, because it's every line ends with like just the best little just touch of melody. Like with the line starts with a bit of aggression, but then he ends it with the fight for your word. You know, like just brings that singing like ending to the lines, and it's just it is so great.
Right. I mean, it doesn't sound like Blitz, but it's very blitzy in the way that it's like so melodic. It's like dripping in melody, and it's also dripping in like dirt. You know, yeah. It's like it's the perfect combination. It's like what I love. You know what I mean? It's like super melodic but super punk all at the same time. And like, you know, I mean, there's no like this band trying to, you know, write a radio hit. Like this is just sleazy, dirty punk, but like so infectious and catchy. It's wild. I don't know.
Yeah, and the guitar, like it's doing like straight power chords, but then there's just this little part where you can just see that he's like just doing a slight little melodious shred on the Army song, like on there, like going in. It's so good. Like, what a great band.
Now,
and
Chris,
I don't think they ever got better than this 7-inch.
No, but like the LP, that first LP is pretty good the whole way through.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, but I'm just saying, like you say, you pick 3 songs that could all fight each other in a battle royale until the genius comes in, points at his head, and then pushes them all out the ring.
There. Chris is one of the people that flies that Froy flag higher than anyone else. How do you feel about this?
Full disclosure. Sorry, my words are not working. Full disclosure. I'd never heard this before. Should I have? Like, were they on notable comps or like? I'm just wondering if they, if this was a blind spot that shouldn't have been a blind spot, because this is so freaking good.
Yeah, Dan, you would know more than me. Is this like is this a top tier band or is it a level below? Like, is this like canon or is it like, you're way into punk and then this is like when you go one level below, this is what you find. It's one of those like second level gems.
I would say it is canon, but the reason that it might not be in everyone's purview, because it wasn't featured on a lot of the comps, like the Link comps and the Dojo comps, that a lot of the other Oi stuff did get featured on. But it is a really great, like, so I would say the two bands that suffer from not being on all of those comps and like are maybe slightly out of people's wheelhouses are because they weren't exposed to them as much is Abrasive Wheels and Broken Bones. I feel like both of those bands could have easily been on all of those comps with all the other things we love so much, but they for some reason weren't. Same as the Partisans were, but it wasn't like their greatest stuff was on those comps. So when you like listen to the Partisans on those comps, you're like, oh, this is good. But then when you check out their like 17 Years of Hell like LP, you're like, oh my God, so
but Dan, Broken Bones is a little bit later, right? Because it's the dude from Discharge that goes on and does that. So it's like it's after the LP. So
yeah. I'm just saying those are
81, the LP's 82, and so like Broken Bones has to be like 83 or later, right?
Oh yeah, 83 and 84. But the reason I'm saying that they're one of those bands that didn't get the rub of the green by being on, because those comps like that gathered stuff up. Obviously, the comps that were in the moment, like Carry On Oi and things like that, were grabbing stuff of the time. But like some of those other ones that were big in America in the mid to late 90s into the early 2000s were the ones that were grabbing stuff from anywhere from 82 all the way through like 86 of a lot of those.
Yeah, you're talking about like not in the moment comps. You're talking about like in the 90s putting together CD comps, like
Chartbusters and stuff like that.
Right.
Things that introduced a ton of people our age to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you go back and you can find the original Link comps and the original Carry On Oi and the Oi of Sex and all of those ones. But at the time, the first things that were coming out when CDs and stuff were coming out were those ones where they just gathered everything from 6 or 7 years of UK music.
Yeah, I had one. And that's when I initially started hating Band from the Pubs. And I still hate it to this day.
I love
Band from the Pubs. I hate it.
And the filth cover of it.
Yeah, still not good. Chris, what? But you love this. You love this, right?
Yeah, I was actually surprised like how much I liked it. Not that anything that we ever talk about is stuff that I dislike, but just like sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool, and then other times like this, I'm like, wow, how did I miss this? Because this is awesome. At times it reminds me of I think like the tempos and the way the vocal hooks kind of bounce over it and the register of the vocalist kind of reminds me at times of early Youth Brigade, like kind of like the Boys in Brigade, brigade, like that kind of era stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dig it. Shout out Abrasive Wheels from Leeds, right?
That would be for Dan to know. I don't know. Dan, do you know that?
I actually have never really looked into where they're from, so that's cool.
I thought I saw leads on Discogs.
Nice.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I wasn't super familiar with this either before I did that project, and it was just like one of the standout ones. Like, I sorted my spreadsheet the other day and looked, and it's like, okay, of all the stuff that's like, of course, like minor threat, negative approach, like these are getting fucking tens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like all that stuff's been talked to death, and this was one of those ones where I was like, I was not that familiar with this. Like, I don't know why. I probably thought it would be like I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't get mentioned in like the Oi stuff, and it's kind of more street punky. So I kind of thought maybe it's like going to be a second rate exploited or something, But yeah, it's just so good, closer to Oi than UK82, at least on these 3 songs.
Did you give it a 10?
I didn't. Like a 10 was pretty impossible. I don't have that list in front of me. But I think like there's less than 10 tens,
I mean, this
I do a
is
very,
9.5.
I do a very hard 10. Yeah, like negative approach 7-inch is a 10. You know what I mean? But like, other than that, like getting a 9 is very hard. Like an 8 is like an all-time classic. I should pull it up and let you guys know, and you'll crucify me. But Dan, final thoughts on the episode?
Just really, obviously we like to promote things that we enjoy and that think that people out there, it's worth their listening and stuff. But I really love everything that we've talked tonight. I love finding out that Abrasive Wheels were from Leeds, so it's great to have another northern punk band, even if they are from Yorkshire. And I just love talking punk and hardcore with you boys. So, and shout out to the listeners. So, enjoy these releases. Dive into that playlist.
Dan, so I rated 1,007 7-inches that are pre 1984, and I gave, let's see here. Oh, it's on the wrong thing. Count. I gave 4 10s. You want to guess them?
Filler.
Yep.
Negative approach.
Yeah. Oh, 5. My bad.
Okay. Filler, negative approach. In My Eyes.
Nope.
Wow.
It's a 9. MI's got a 9.
Discharge.
No, another 9.
Oh.
Nervous breakdown. Yeah, nervous breakdown. Filler. Bullet. We got the neutron bomb.
Oh yeah, bullet, of course. Yeah, we got the neutron bomb. I surprisingly just went from 81 forward. Like I didn't think. Obviously, you said pre 84, but in my head I was just thinking from 80 to 84. I didn't think 70s. So yeah, bullet, weirdos. Is that all 5 then?
Yeah, nervous breakdown, filler, bullet. We got the neutron bomb and negative approach. Yeah, and then for 9 5s, Misfits, Night of the Living Dead, and then the other 9.5, dude, Blitzkrieg Bop, California Sun, and I Don't Wanna. The Ramones 7-inch, 1976.
Crazy that's not a 10. Is it because they didn't write California Sun?
It's just a 10 is very hard, dude. I'm not loose with my 10s. I did 5 10s. Those are the 2 9.5s. And then let me see how many 9s I got. There are only 19 9s out of over 1,000 7-inches.
Was Abrasive Wheels a 9?
I think I gave it. You're testing my Control F skills right here. I gave Abrasive Wheels let's see here, 7.5.
What?
Yeah, and but that's a really good. That's really, really good, dude.
Do you think if you revisited it after the stronger evaluation of listening to it for this pod, it might bump up?
It might get an 8, but I'm a pretty hard grader. So
So what was In My Eyes?
It was a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's a 9. So grade everything against In My Eyes, right? Like if In My Eyes is a 9, like what's there? You know what I mean?
I mean, none of those songs were on the Straight Edge Super 7 for Dan, so.
That's true. That's true. You know?
They're
Yeah,
wrong,
and you can make your list of 7 inches that you think are 9s or above. We can go through them. But yeah. Anyway, Chris, final thoughts on the episode.
Final thought, first one. The Straight Edge Super 7 is going to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Forever. It's like the fucking trump card, huh? Whoa, what
great.
about?
I love it. It couldn't have been more perfect if Dan would have taken every 7 Minor Threat songs. Yeah, just second, just appreciate chatting with you guys about these. Super excited to give Rifle a deeper listen. It's like I said, what I heard while I was multitasking sounded really cool, and then what you guys described sounded even equally as cool. And then psyched to listen to more Abrasive Wheels. So
yeah, that whole first LP bangs pretty hard, dude. And it's called When the Punks Go Marching In, so you know it's sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not a classic album cover, too. Like that's counting against it. You know what I mean? Just like the scrapbook. Like
is it Peach?
No, it's not peach. So it's green. So that's one of the win column. But yeah, dude, this episode rules. I enjoyed it. Dan, where can people find you?
Before I tell them where to find me, can I just ask you what the highest rated Blitz 7-inch was?
Oh no. We'll see if I have
Command F.
Yeah. Here we go. There's 4 Blitz 7 inches that I rated 9s. So All Out Attack got a 9, Never Surrender Razor of the Night got a 9, Warriors got a 9, and New Age got a 9.
Wow. I can't believe none of them are 9.5s, but I respect your stringency.
Dude, it's a hard 9. You know what I mean? UK Subs Stranglehold 9. The Pagan 7-inch I love so much. Street Where Nobody Lives still a 9. Horror Business a 9. MIs 9. In the City 9. You know what I mean?
Do you have any 1.5s?
Do I? That's a wild one, dude. Because like grading something like that low is hard. Usually you're just like, fuck it, give it a 1. I have no 1.5s. I have like a handful of 1s because the thing is, I like punk music, right? So like if you're doing like even pretty bad punk, like I'm gonna give it like a 3. You know what I mean? Because like I enjoy it in general, But I do have a lot of 3s and a lot of 2s, and I have a handful of 1s. I do have a couple 3.5s for some reason, but
do you have any 0.5s?
I don't. But yeah, some 1s. I'll toss them out for you. The Slug Fuckers, 3 Feet Behind Glass, self-released, 1979, Sydney, Australia.
Those will be on the playlist.
Yeah, no. Silver Abuse, Fall from Grace, on Schwa Records, Chicago, Illinois, 1982. Got a 1. The Psychotic Petunias, Louie, Mayhem Records, 1978, Pittsburgh, got a 1. What else? Yeah, I don't know. Like there's a handful of shit. How about this? Billy Wizard and the Kmart Studio Orchestra. That got the Nazi Love 7-inch on Wizard Bootleg.
Terrible. That sounds terrible on all accounts.
It is 1978 Los Angeles. It was a 2-song joke record. The first song is a ballad about Nazi love. The second song is a cover of Stepping Stone, done before Minor Threat, dude. 3 years before Minor Threat did it.
If we know one thing about Zach, it's that we know that he loves joke songs.
That's true. That is true.
And now we know that he loves Peach.
Well, for all the listeners out there, Zach really held on to a Good Clean Fun test press because he thought it was going to be worth an absolute fortune.
I know, because it was like a $40 record for a minute. I was like, this is going to 70. I know it. I don't even know how I got that thing. I didn't buy it. It wasn't a test press. It was like a promo. So it might have been like they did like 25 test presses of something, and did like a fake cover. I don't know. He ended up selling it for like fucking $12 on eBay, like 5 years too late. So it is what it is. $12 profit. So what's up? Dan, where can people find you?
At Southpaw Instagrammer on Instagram, and in the pit. Psych.
Yeah, also every third Friday in San Diego at Fucking in the Bushes at the Whistle Stop. You can come out and boogie to Dan's DJing. What's up?
That's right.
Chris, where can people find you?
At Chris Williams 51 on Instagram and Twitter.
Hell yeah. Everyone get at me, 185 miles south at gmail.com. And also it's 185 miles south on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Threads. But if you want to get at me on the email. I respond to everyone. The DMs get a little weirder because shit gets bumped down and all that. My personal, Zach Retaliate on Instagram. And you know Retaliate is the best on Instagram. Everyone, we love you all. We'll talk to you again next Monday on Patreon.